Yo, what's good, Legion?
Hey, what's good, Mr. White?
How you feeling, man?
Feeling all right, feeling good, feeling good. It's Friday. You
Yeah,
know, we,
yeah.
we out here doing the damn thing. This that CamoCast, Camouflage Crews 313G podcast. I am Legion D Wise,
And
and
I'm Mr.
this is the
White.
homie, Mr. White. There you go, there you go. We still ain't figured out a slogan for this
Nah,
motherfucker.
it's kind of go by ear, play it by ear type situation. We want to get the information out there, but we definitely want some participation from our audience. We got a couple different ideas out there. We're gonna put them out there in the future cast, and some options for people to kind of decide, what the name of the cast would be. We kind of planning that in the early goings. So, if you engaging in the cast, you like the content that we putting out there, definitely feel free to throw some ideas up there for what you think our official podcast name should be.
Yes, definitely. Let us know. So, what we got to talk about today, man?
Um, you know, uh, Same shit, different day, but not for real. It's a little bit different direction here. I think today we wanted to actually talk about just music. I think in the other few casts we kind of talked on music or we touched on the artist, but I think specifically just touching on taste, what we like, what we enjoy. What artists we follow, what artists have we been following, and what are they doing over the years. I mean, I think we definitely bring up Eminem. That's not necessarily a new artist or anything like that. We've talked on Joe Budden. That's not a new artist. So what are people doing to reinvent themselves or prolong their careers? Is something very important, something that we definitely watching. And so with this episode, I think we wanted to discuss a couple of artists that they always been known as, I guess, popping artists, I guess, from a commercial perspective, right? They haven't had any issues selling records. They're in their particular niche or market, they're doing well, they're successful. I mean, I would have to say it's based on pure numbers, right? And
Right. So, we speaking on former like top 10 type artists that are now doing new stuff in this new era, new generation of hip hop. Where so like we were talking about Eminem, we talked about Eminem, I think, two
several
podcasts.
times. Yeah, I mean,
You
he's
know,
still he's a, I guess because he is one of those hot names. It's obviously always gonna come up. He can't stay out the conversation because he put himself in the conversation.
I mean, he's very relevant for sure.
But there's still plenty of artists that are, maybe some people would consider them old at this point, but not quite golden era rap old, right? And those artists are, they may have achieved some success and actually maintain a career in the music, which is important in terms of if any of these people are going to be considered one of the greats. I think it's about maintaining and prolonging a career. That's number one, right? In terms of what I'm looking for in a artist's body of work, and why I could go back to them and why I could reconnect with them over time is because they keep coming back and they keep trying to put their best foot forward. I mean, even Eminem did it. I mean, I wasn't really, I wasn't enamored with the project. I heard it, what I'm saying? He got some cuts on there, but, for 19 tracks, this is a little fluffy, a little poppy.
A little fluffy?
A little fluffy. A little fluffy.
Fluffy.
Like
Okay.
a pillow.
Yeah, like cotton
It's
candy.
not,
I see what you're saying.
and it's not, I mean, for what it's worth, though, it's still Eminem, it's him all the way. I don't think anybody else could make that project. Which, in that statement, it could be considered a great project. I'm not gonna be banging it in my whip though. It's not. It might not hit none of them. I mean, maybe one or two of them songs might hit a playlist of mine, but I'm not going to that album for the winter. Not looking forward to enjoying that as part of whatever I'm doing right now. That's not my mood, I guess. I'm in a, you know, I just feel differently. You know, so
yeah,
you know.
and I'm sure a lot of fans of Eminem and what, like some Shady LP, Marshall Mathers LP type Eminem fans, probably gonna be turned off by that album, just because it don't really have nothing for them on there. Really, like this is some other shit completely.
It's got a track for everybody on there, but then you know what can be said about something like that, right? Is that great? Does that make something great because it's for everybody? I mean, some of the best music has been very niche, right? And then people appreciate it over time because somebody was trying to do something innovative, or even, you know, they were being avant-garde. Like they were taking that risk of not trying to always capture a new market, but just re-energizing their core market. I mean, same could be said for politics right now. Instead of going out and reaching, and you see a very conservative approach to everything now. For you know what I'm saying, but let's not talk about Eminem too long. Obviously, like I mean, it's just easy to relate to because what we're gonna kind of pivot to is Jeezy's dropping the album. Oh no, he dropped the album today, the same day Eminem dropped the album. And okay,
That's
a lot
crazy.
of people out there like, oh, you know, from a street perspective, or maybe a suburban street perspective, they like, he ain't real no more. He's old. He's lost touch. This and that. And I mean, okay.
Who?
Huh?
Who we talking about now?
We talking about
talking
Jeezy. Talking about
That's
Jeezy,
crazy.
man. That's
crazy.
That is the word on the wire, on the social media. I was on Complex checking their stuff out. I was on other people were really harping him for that interview, and other interviews. They treating him like he Mason Cameron at this point, like in terms of like
fake news, bro.
yeah,
That's
like
fake news.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like they like, oh, Jeezy dropping an album, yeah, whatever. But I had a chance to check out some of that project. That was fire. Like I mean, he knows the sound. He has the accurate rap features, the for the culture rap features. I mean, he went out and tried to make some good music. I mean, good music that I could listen to.
I would have to question the fans and the general consumers of hip hop, right? Like, if
And
you suddenly talking shit
Jeezy
about
track
Jeezy, like if you suddenly talking shit about Jeezy, right? Like, what kind of fans are these motherfuckers, right? Because everybody was fucking with Jeezy.
I mean,
and
but
all the same people that will fuck with like the 21 Savage or somebody like that fuck with Jeezy, right? And so
maybe I think what we're starting to see is the same thing with Ross. Like a lot of people don't necessarily. I mean, they fuck with Ross on that high level, but it's you know what I'm saying. He doesn't rap like these new niggas, right? Or the new rappers. You know what I'm saying. He doesn't rap like them, so he automatically becomes an outcast. He's already older. He already is looked at as an old head. So I think what's happening is that you're seeing a further progression of people making artists older than they really are. And
this is a terrible attitude.
Just because he on his 8th album, they like, oh, he's. I mean, I think in terms of what he's done musically has been pretty prolific. Like I don't know what his business is in the streets. I mean, I don't know that man personally, so I can't speak on that, right? Like a lot of people are like, oh, he might have got Gucci shot or shot at Gucci or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's like that's speculation, right? Unless you one of them two cats, you don't know. And if it was really, really that much of an issue, then one of them would be dead right now. You know what I'm saying? Clearly, it wasn't that big of an issue for them to continue to that whatever that beef was. You know what I'm saying? Even if it was a fake or real beef, you know what I'm saying? Because the media can make stuff up blown out of proportion. That's what Jeezy was saying about him and the Rick Ross beef. Which I thought I needed to hear that just from some real perspective. Even people like, oh, you know what I'm saying, he phony because he ain't shoot up Rick Ross. It's like, nah, he ain't phony because of that. He's like, it was overhyped in the media. He had never really met the man, and then the tension came because they was both real niggas and trying to actually, you know what I'm saying, live that life, and it becomes a problem at that point. And he realizing at this point, like, all that could be avoided in terms of trying to be successful and make good music. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could just focus on making good music, and then more is gonna come out of that, and then just trying to keep it real all the time. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what he kind of came to that point. He even said it like, I'm tired of telling people to trap now. Hustle, man. Stop trapping. That's what got all my people dead in jail and all that. He's like, he's like, to be honest with you, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, I like that development. I like that growth, right? I mean, it made people call it contradictory, but who was everybody's favorite? Who was favorite contradictory artist? Tupac, right?
I think people are so caught up in the trying to get famous and portray a certain image to get famous or to get to a certain position that we have started to forget the lessons that we have learned over time about that type of shit. Because the ultimate goal for any artist, right? Like, if you not already rich, right? Or you not already well off, and you started from the ground up, whether you in like a punk rock band or you a rapper, right? Like, the goal is for you to monetize your movement, right? Like, and then get to a better position in life. Yeah. And then, because when you a star, you come up. Like, once you become a star, like, you come up, there is no reason to still feel the burden to have to be in the street. Like you, especially if you used to sell cocaine, right? Like, you used to be
like,
roll hard.
Yeah, exactly.
But then you start rapping, you come up, right? And then you rapping, but you can't rap about that anymore. Like, I don't believe that, because it's like, as long as you're not literally saying like, okay, I still sell coke, I'm out here, whatever, you can still rap about it. Like, you can still reference it. I think the lack of creativity and the lack of effort that cats want to put in, you know what I'm saying, is the problem. Because you look at cats like Too Short, and you know, there's other motherfuckers too. I'm going way back with Too Short.
You have to be honest. It's like 90% of the rappers in the game have referenced the drug game at some point, right? Like, even in innuendo, right? Like, people been poking around it because it's not necessarily. I'm
just saying the idea that if you used to do it. My bad, excuse me. I'm just saying the idea that if you used to do it, and then now you can't, because you can't rap about that type of shit because you're on, it's kind of ridiculous, right? Like, and then this ageist movement that started in hip hop is bad for the culture, because the goal is also to have a long, sustained career. I would say a cat like Snoop Dogg, back in the day, there was a time where you would not say you wanted to see Snoop Dogg stop rapping, right? Like, you don't ever want, you know, until like I would say there are people now who could take or leave a Snoop Dogg song, right? Like, you're not, it's not as big of a deal as it was in like '93, but I'm just saying, like, you wanted these cats to have long careers, and 10 years after they dropped their first album, you was still checking for that shit. Mm-hmm. You know, when these cats hadn't done nothing, like Dre, Snoop, they hadn't done nothing between that whole time when they actually started dropping newer stuff. Now, Snoop had done some stuff, but like a cat like Dre, and then even Snoop, from Doggy Style to when he dropped the next album was like 10 years, I believe. It was something crazy like that.
I mean, yeah, he wasn't,
you know,
I think in that time, and I mean, even now, artists don't have to drop a whole bunch of albums. I mean, they can be just present and have a whole bunch of singles. And what he did for himself was he made himself an icon, and I think that's kind of what Jeezy did, right? I mean, regardless of if you respect him for his quote-unquote street encounters and his street credibility,
I mean, if people
it doesn't matter. He was able to.
If people can't respect that level of longevity, or they can respect an artist who is still making good music just because he's an older artist, things have really gotten fucked up, because that means no artist is gonna have a shelf life past like 26, 27. You know what I'm saying? And that's ridiculous, because cats need to feed their family. Like, this is not a situation where like people will come into rap and it will change their life, like, all the way around. You know, if we put ourselves in a situation to where rap is only gonna be like a 3-year hobby, 4-year hobby, and then you can't do it anymore, you're killing hip hop, like straight up and down, killing hip hop. You're not just killing hip hop, you're killing rap. Like, I want people to not split hairs by making a distinction of hip hop and this other type of music that people doing. You killing all forms of rap, all forms of spoken word music that is not singing. When you put a shelf life on motherfuckers like that, you killing it. Because if you create a stigma to where nobody can listen to anybody that's over 26, 27, time don't stop. You know what I'm saying? Like, all these cats that are talking that, oh, he old shit, gonna be old in like 2-3 years.
Yeah, I think
I
guess that's the biggest problem, is that if people look at it like that and they truthfully want longevity from the music, then I think the biggest thing that they need to fix is just going through and making sure that they can have that longevity. Other than that, it's just like, people shouldn't be wasteful, in that aspect. Like, if you got an opportunity and you can make the most of it right now, then make the most of it. Don't think about nothing else. Don't think about who you competing with in the game and try to put yourself out there, sacrifice yourself for some image. You know what I'm saying? That's stupid. Right. Never put yourself on a line like that, right? Like, always be business minded about it. Even if you are quote unquote clowning, and I think some of these artists are doing that. Some of them. You got like a Yachty, who might be real savvy on that, or Uzi or whatever. Not all of them, but you got a few really savvy artists on that side. But that aside, you look at a Jeezy being able to talk about whatever you wanted and be successful with the music. Is you could kind of attribute some of that to him, right? Because he was able to have like top 10 records with talking about just ridiculous amounts of drug dealing. Like, that was a new thing, really, to be honest. But then even his music wasn't always exactly about that. He had a lot of those kind of like ladies cuts in there and on the sleeper side, and he had just kind of like some real hard hitting aggressive tracks that were like high energy. Like, a lot of his music was real high energy stuff. So I think
his music transitioned from just being about selling dope to more about motivation and the grind in general. Like, he kind of took the drug element out of it and just focused on actually the grind that's a part of that. You know what I'm saying?
And the translation of it, just saying that, it doesn't stop just because you go and you do legit stuff. Doesn't mean that you don't have to hustle, you don't have to grind or put in all your effort to get further, right? Like, it's not easy to work a job no more than it is to go to the corner and sell a crack rock. You know what I'm saying? It's both are difficult in one way or another and require different skill sets. It's just a choice, and it's important to understand that each choice comes with consequences as well. You know, in which case the going out on the corner, that's gonna come with jail time, death, probably in an extreme way, in a quick way. So it's like, is that what you want? You know what I'm saying? Are the dollars gonna add up? If you're not that man, you might not want to take that route. You know what I'm saying? Unless you already got whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? And then once you see the problems that you causing or whatever stress you done went through, do you want to continue to do that just because you making a little money when maybe you could be making more money over here? And this kind of goes to, we're talking about, or we wanted to touch on the fact it's too many young artists continuing this trend of going to jail, right? It's like, it's insane, man. Like I've never been to prison, but I know you have. So you can speak on it from just like a real aspect, but just in general, I think you wanted to talk about what that's doing to the culture, or how should we see that, and what do you see the factors that are contributing to that the most?
I think it's a few things contributing to that issue. One of the things we kind of touched on, which was the fact that people feel like they have to uphold a certain image to get on now. It's not even about like before it was, I am who I am and I'm gonna keep it real, right? But now it's like, nah, in order for people to even believe that you're real, you gotta be on Instagram showing guns, you gotta be showing everything that you're doing, you gotta broadcast, you gotta drive snitch on yourself, basically, in order for people to think you're real. If you're not doing none of that, cats is like, oh, he a goofy, he ain't really out here like that. And it's like, real G's don't really move like that because of the fact that you will get popped, right?
Or even say real G's don't move like that. Real G's shouldn't move like that, right? Like if we want to know the definition of, but I mean, not even so much to say that keeping your criminal or gangster stuff on the low is important, right? Like I look at it more so like it's a situation where, hey, if you live in this type of lifestyle, it's not meant to be public. It's not that's not something that it's not something you should really be like proud of or broadcasting. And it's like,
when you become a celebrity, you under a microscope, and that lifestyle is not made to be under a microscope. The more people, the closer people look at you, the more shit they gonna see that you don't need them to see. And that's why these cats are just having the laws just kick their door in and run up in their house.
Yeah, and you essentially like just a target. You're a target at that point, but you're a target for everything. You're a target for any type of allegations, any type of feelings people got about you, because it's celebrity now. Not because they get the fame or they get some money out of you. You don't know who's trying to snipe you. And you don't want to be out there acting like you can't be touched, because they trying to touch us. They love making an example out of brown people or people in the hip hop culture. They love sitting us down and making us pay even twice over for petty things, because they like, oh well, and you know, like, come on now. I mean, I don't want to go into the whole hip hop police thing, but just that
it's alone, there. Right? And then what a lot of people got to realize, or what a lot of fans and new people who coming into hip hop becoming fans, right? What you are presented with in videos and on these cats' profiles and stuff, as far as material wealth goes, right? That is not from street activity. Like none of what they showing when these cats pull up in these expensive ass cars, all that jewelry they got, the stacks of money that they got. This is how you know that shit ain't from no street shit. Because how many D-boys got rubber bands, stacks of money that's totally wrinkle free, right? Like the dope money don't come like that. You know what I'm saying? You gotta go to the bank.
Guess in a certain way,
and
but
get that.
In a certain way, I can see what you're saying. But I mean, depending on what level they at. But in all honesty, no, that's not.
I'm sorry, bro. If
it's usually money that they get
to the bank and withdraw stacks of dope money, you not moving right, because that's paper trail like a motherfucker. If them stacks of money niggas got, they holding up to on their ear, it's dope money. That shit come from the bank, still got the band on it, right? So if you putting your dope money in the bank and then you going to get the money just to hold it to your fucking ear, that's why niggas is going to jail, right? Like, that's why niggas get popped.
Yeah. I mean, like I say, I don't think, obviously, I'm gonna say I don't see the reason for any of it. It's cool, like if you got money, you got money. But yeah, it's mostly for show. It's mostly because they have legitimate finances and they can do that.
Right. And the distinction should be made that, like, okay, this music, this money comes from music. Yeah. Like, this is not like I used to do this type of thing. I'm rapping about it.
Music or some type of music source, right? Like, even if it's the label giving you that advance or giving you some money to flash, you know what I'm saying? You can have like a Birdman type situation where he gonna put you in the Bugatti and give you that chain and give you all that. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you're going to have more money and more material things than the average person, but that doesn't mean that that's actually how you roll. And you know what I'm saying? Like, they may take all that money away and just, or it could be fake money. Cause that's just
you look at cats like Juvenile.
Yeah,
I give you a good example. Juvenile. The perception was that Juvenile was balling out of control. These niggas had helicopters, they had jet skis, they had all the nicest cars, the Lexus, Hummers, Bubble Eye Benz, all that shit they were rapping about, right? All the jewelry. That nigga is not on that right now. Like when you see. If you Google a picture of Juvenile, like a recent picture of Juvenile, he do not look like that no more, because that was all the front.
But he can't roll like that either. You know what I'm saying? Because it's the reason why these kids always get into these issues with their chains get snatched and having all these situations and having to pay for money to get back. You roll like that, you become a target. It's just a target. It is what it is. I mean, and now you gotta roll deeper. Now you gotta what are you proving though? I mean, that's another conversation though.
So
but that gets the people in trouble like that. You getting into, now you facing charges because maybe you get into it with somebody and you have to prove that you gangster, or vice versa, where people trying to test you because, you know what I'm saying? That's the aura you putting out there.
Now, incidences like that where you have ignorant cats that just want to fuck with people, like they're just coming up snatching people chain running, that's one thing. But a lot of issues these cats have are being perpetuated by them early on in their career, right? Instead of them just deciding I'm gonna just do music, right? Like, they continue to put the pedal to the floor and do the music till you get in the public limelight, and then all you doing is you collecting up rope to hang yourself. Like, you just collecting up all the rope, and these cats is just waiting for you to hang yourself. That's all they want, is for you to hang yourself. And once you do that, you a non-factor. People have made the money they wanted to make off of you. They're gonna use your image and your sort of mystique to market the next cat. Like, oh, he's similar to this dude.
They okay. I mean,
like
because
the NBA young boys and the Take Days.
I mean, look at this is a segue into XXXTentacion. Okay, they just signed him to a deal, but he looking at facing some time potentially, but he probably already sold him whatever catalog he had or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Normally that's how it works. When you get signed to a deal, you typically have a catalog or you just have that much buzz. But it's typically because you got you got some music available for them to push, and they feel like there's some hits in there, right? and like, okay, we got maybe like 3 or 4 hits in here, maybe even more than that. They can make a lot of money off a hit single, right? Or so, even some top 100, they find, right? Like any label situation, you know, that's kind of what they looking for. Because even some of the best artists ain't charting that high, right? You know what I'm saying?
Well, when a lot of these deals, especially when you sign an album deals, and you say you sign a 3, 4, 5 album deal like that one cat did recently, the 360 deal, I forget his name. When you do that, a lot of people need to realize you have to make those albums to get off that label, unless you negotiate your release. So you have to make those albums, and you have to give those albums to the label, and you are probably going to be subject to whatever the label wants on those albums. Like, we want this type of single on these albums, so you have to do that. That's your burden. And you got to take that on. And like, so if you go to jail, right? Like if you're a cat that has a catalog of music and then you go to jail, you just gonna give your catalog to these people. They're gonna put together some shit and put it out. And it's like, yeah, they gonna get that money. That money's not going on your books when you locked up. Like, you always hear cats locked up and they like, oh, so-and-so rapper came and put some money on my books. So-and-so rapper came to do this and that. You never hear like, oh, the label got me a lawyer. No more, you know, because really after Tupac, after all the issues with Tupac, the money for the lawyers for Tupac was so intense, and then he had that rape charge, and once he had that rape charge, they was done, and labels from that point on was leaving niggas hanging out to dry. Like when you go to jail, you go to jail, and it's over with.
And it's unless you guys, that's been a trend. I mean, when these cats get into some serious trouble, the label just hide their heads. Now, when you get out, they might mess with you again if you got hits and you got the drive, but it's still shady.
And then another thing is it's becoming cliche.
What?
Right?
What's up? Oh, okay. I'm doing this video stream. Yeah, hold on.
Is that your mom?
Yeah.
Ah!
That was my OG.
Mom came in on the podcast.
Yeah.
It's a special day. It's a special day.
It's the holidays. My mom and my girl mom out here, so it's a blessing to have the family around. You know, I just
That's what's
just
up.
had
That's what's up.
So it's a lot of work and time and effort. But
no, I understand.
I
But
guess,
yeah, with these cats, I mean, the whole thing is, the problem is that people feel the need to portray a certain image, right, in order to get on. You're not being who you want to be at that point. You're being somebody you feel like you have to be.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then people are coming into the game looking at these other cats who have gotten on with that type of clout and saying, okay, well, in order for me to get on, I have to do that, be that same person too. And you got lower level dudes out here that's trying to be that, and it's like cats out here really testing you.
Yeah.
Somebody that can sit in a private apartment somewhere and just stream all your, you know, gangster shit that you trying to portray to everybody in the world, and you got millions of followers, then of course you gonna generate this shit, and you're not finna be out in the street fighting niggas every day like that, because like that's what niggas had to do to really be real, right? Like you had to fight, you had to do something out there.
I mean, because there wasn't any media, I mean, flat out, there wasn't any social media. There was no way to control the perception of your image, and because of that, you can make yourself look hard now in 2018. You know, coming up, you know, 2017.
I mean, people,
it's like you can build a facade around yourself, and it's fine in certain instances, right? Like I think it's okay for people to live grandiose and have a higher perception of themselves, and in some cases, in terms of marketing, it's more effective than what the labels would be doing for these same types of artists. don't think these labels will know how to market these artists at all. And I think that's why they're having so much success on their own, and then the labels are starting to take notice, and they're like, oh man, this is a whole new wave now. And they've been seeing it for a little while, but it's like, no, social media famous is a thing. It's not a joke anymore. It's a serious next level, almost entrepreneurial type of endeavor, right? Like it's not even so much a far-fetched thing to think of. It's just more so like, can you put yourself out there in that way? Are you fine with that? Are you okay with documenting and putting a lot of information about yourself and whatever your ideas are out there? If you are, then you could potentially have some success doing that. And I mean, in like many ways, what we're trying to do here with discussing music and trying to do a lot of things with our own music. Learning through teaching and learning through helping people experience this with us. So I think it's important.
I also would like to point out something real quick. I don't mean to cut you off.
No, you good.
Something else that I want to kind of point out about this. I'm saying this about these rappers, and the reason I'm talking like this is because there is, I believe, an effort to lock up all these rappers, right? To stop the influence of hip hop.
Yeah.
Because
that's the real underlying problem. I don't think all these kids out here want to get in trouble. I think it's just the cycle, the vicious cycle of them being caught up in all this drama, and then the labels they're not really forthcoming and trying to get these kids in a better situation. They just trying to get a paycheck. So a lot of times they gonna let the artist do whatever they feel comfortable with just to keep them happy, right? So it's like, if this artist want to do some dumb shit, they're not gonna be like, no, don't do that. They're gonna be like, oh, do whatever you want. You know what I'm saying? Here, more, just to see if they can get more out of that artist, and also keep the artist at whatever level they perceive the artist needs to be at. I was watching some videos about this one guy. He was just talking about, if you live your life holistically, you don't need drugs. If you eating healthy and you getting right water intake, and you're sleeping right, and you're not you're exercising, you're not pushing so it's like, if you're doing these things right, as a person, you're probably gonna feel better, be healthier, live longer, but also you're going to get a better production out of your mind and out of any part of your body that's required to perform and create art. So it's like, some people don't do that, right? And then they just want to do drugs, right? And we back to the other conversations, it's like, that's all they want to do, and they think that's going to unlock a certain level of creativity. But oftentimes that's another thing. The use and the possession of drugs, getting kids caught up catching petty cases and pushing them further and further back into more indifferent cases. Like, you catch 2, 3, 4 cases, you know what I'm saying, this and that, and then now they just stacking it up because they're not coming to them and being like, hey man, you don't need to do that. Let's help you clean up. You know what I'm saying? They're not coming to these kids on that angle. They're like, oh, you crazy and rambunctious and all over the place. Cool. Just make music and be out there and sell some records, and we fine. It doesn't matter how fucked up you are.
Yeah, a lot of these rappers, that has been one of their major issues is drugs too. That's putting them in jail, and it's also perpetuating a deadly trend among consumers of hip hop, because we talking about drugs that aren't meant to do all the time, right? Like lean, Xanax, all these type of drugs. They're not meant to be on habitually, like weed.
Yeah, it's definitely something that's
they're actually dangerous, life-threatening.
What people call lean or cough syrup, it's supposed to be prescribed to sick people who have a condition, and they're supposed to be taken in prescribed dosages which even the prescribed dosages could be too much because we, you know what I'm saying, we don't have to go back too many times over, but we know that the opiate pill epidemic is in effect in America, and it's been in effect for a long time. Even the doctors can't, you know, exactly tell you how much is too much. You know, they try to tell you, that's why they tell you to take so few, right? And so when you take more than what the minimum is, and you think your body is invincible, I mean, you find out the hard way, and it's not something that we should take lightly. It's not something the coach should take lightly, and I think all of that, these ideas, I guess we're touching back, you know, coming back to why a lot of people say Jeezy contradicts himself, you know what I'm saying? But I think about it like, at least he's learning that he can't continue to be that or do that, right?
Yeah, and another thing is that when you doing these drugs, right, like you in a studio type situation, you a rapper, right? I think a lot of these cats don't realize that just because your tolerance goes up doesn't mean that you can take more safely, right? Like, I think a lot of people think like, oh, well, I was just popping one, but now this one, I can handle this one, so I'm cool if I pop two. Like, I'm not gonna die if I do that, and that's not the case. Like, your tolerance don't have nothing to do with your actual body's physical reaction to that drug in accumulative sort of quantities. So yeah, but I mean, you're right about Jeezy. I mean, if you just looking at him for face value, it would seem that, oh, you came up off talking about selling dope, and now you telling people to not talk about that, and so you contradicting yourself.
Well,
but that's only if you're looking at it for face value. He didn't even say don't talk about that.
He was just saying, I'm not talking about that anymore. I'm not gonna tell anybody to do that anymore just because I did that. It's not you're not, you know what I'm saying. Just because your past was this doesn't mean that you have to be that forever, and that's the truth. I mean, just because you're one way now doesn't mean you can't. It's because you pour it out don't mean you can't be rich later. You know, just because you know you don't have success now doesn't mean you can't get success later. You got to put in the work and the effort to get there. But
this is true.
I think we need to go ahead and segue off to this last topic here. We wanted to touch on Big Sean.
Right. He has a new album, correct?
What are your thoughts?
You got a new album coming out?
No, he just dropped a project with. And see, look, you're like he got a project. You don't even know.
No, I didn't know if it was out yet or if it was. Like, I knew it was coming out.
Look, you're not even checking for it. You don't even know.
I mean, I'm not the biggest Big Sean fan. I can respect that he's not a terrible rapper. Like, he's not in the pantheon of terrible rappers, right? Like, he's listenable. But now if I'm gonna be like, terrible. Okay, no, he's not in the. He actually can rap to, and he has some lyrics. But his subject matter and his style, I never liked. I always thought Big Sean sounded like Drake. Like he has the same voice as Drake. And
really?
I felt, I mean, but I used to confuse him when they first came out. I was like,
what I can say about Big Sean is that Big Sean does have a way of fitting well on a lot of tracks with other artists. And I think he plays to whatever the track needs. And I think a lot of times that's kind of what he's defaulted to. That's why people will say often that his features are better than his actual solo material. And he has flashes of really, really great solo material. I'm not gonna say that I like Big Sean in terms of I've liked a lot of his music. I don't know. I've never checked for him though, right? Like I've never checked for him, to be honest. I'm sorry, Big Sean, but you know I listen to your music when I hear something that's compelling. If it comes across my wavelength. I know you just dropped this project with Offset, I guess. I mean, I didn't hear nothing that blew me out of the water. I mean, it's probably gonna bump in the whip because.
What does he got going right now? What's up on the album, right on his newest shit?
What does he get? What did he just drop? All right, let's see.
Yeah, like what's going on the album that he just dropped?
He got 10 tracks. 10 tracks.
Travis Scott,
2 Chainz, 21 Savage, Cash Doll, Thug,
Young Thug,
and Swaley.
Okay, it's a 10-album project. I mean, a 10-song album, and seemed like he got the higher level cats, just trappy on there. So this might be kind of hard. Like he might be going in on some lyrical shit and just really trying to smash some shit with this.
Well, I mean, I think that was the goal, right? But I don't know. I mean, does that come across with Big Sean on Metro Boomin? He kind of tags himself. He tagged himself early on as more of a Kanye adventurous hip hop type artist. You know what I'm saying? Because he was definitely
sort of
Kanye wing for a long time, and Kanye's wave of trap, which did not sound like anybody else's wave of trap, but it didn't matter because Kanye was setting the trend at the time. But Kanye, he hasn't been producing a ton, but he has still produced a lot of stuff. But I don't think he's followed Kanye anymore. I think he started going wherever he wanted to go, which lands him over here with Metro, which is somebody kind of in his, contemporary or whatnot. I don't know. I mean, like you say, what's going to guarantee that Metro is going to produce something for Big Sean that's better than what he's produced for like Savage? Because I feel like him and 21 Savage just sounded perfect together. I mean, and if you get on, and him and Migos, he do a really good job. And him and Future do a really, really great job, right? You know what I'm saying? But it's like, how many people can...
You don't see it with Big Sean?
How many people can kill his beats, right? You gotta have a certain type of voice. You gotta be using a certain type of style. Big Sean don't even rap like them ATL niggas. I think that's the big problem, right? Like, he's trying to rap like he raps with his unique kind of Detroit style over some Atlanta beats, and not really like conforming to him, but more so like riding over the top of him. So I mean, like I say, he got some stuff here and there. I mean, it's not just trash or nothing. Like, I think a lot of people are saying it's trash. I think he another artist where it's like, he's obviously ultra successful with what he does. He's figured out the way to keep himself in the game. He's figured out how to keep hits coming in. He's made the right business moves. But has he like impressed me as like a number one go-to rapper for lyricism and all of that? Nah, I'm just glad he not one of them ignorant devil worshiping mumble rappers. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like with all of that shit coming, you'd be like, all right, I'll take anybody besides them. Like, if it's gonna be, right, if it's right, coming down to the end, then it's like, who do you take? And he's not. It's not even like that. But I think it's because he doesn't go. I don't think he goes at the throat. He does a lot of songs about women and kind of, he's not visceral enough, I guess, and that's fine. You know, every artist doesn't have to be that way. You know, every artist doesn't have to, but I think that does affect his impact. You know, if you ever heard that, just stop playing with these cats and just maybe even change your vocal pitch, because you know he kind of up there in the range a bit.
Yeah,
just get on some dark shit. You know, like circa Eminem, you know what I'm saying, Marshall Mathers LP, go that route, you know. And I've never heard him go that route. Like, you from Detroit, go Royce the 5'9", fuck that, you know, a modern reference. Go Royce the 5'9" for me just one time, and then I'd be like, okay, all right.
Yeah, I mean, it's a weird middle ground. You know what I'm saying? I'm interested to hear exactly what it sounds like. But yeah, I've never been the biggest Big Sean fan. I could definitely say, compared to some of these newer cats, Big Sean is like a lyrical beast. Like I say, like a lot of these cats did a few years ago, were general consensus where they was just okay, now seem like they really, really good rappers compared to.
Big ups for Big Sean for this. He doesn't go to jail all the damn time. He's not like ridiculously gaudy or anything like that. He makes pretty solid business moves, apparently, you know, and he's been consistent in terms of dropping a project regularly. Like, you get music from Big Sean. Like, it's not like there isn't music from him. You know what I'm saying?
He's been very successful.
Yeah, like he
in light of everything that's going on.
Yeah, like, and he does a lot of like them in between features where he's like doing stuff with pop stars that you don't really hear about, but he still gets money off of that. And I've heard songs, like, I've been hanging out with my white friends. They'd be like, they'll play a track. I'd be like, damn, Big Sean did this. I ain't never heard this Big Sean track. So he's getting to the money. He's getting and like I say, he's a great featured artist. I think that's it don't even matter. It could be on like a pop style track. Like, he sounds good on pop tracks. Like, maybe he needs to take an Eminem route and just drop a whole pop album. I think he don't want to do that though, right? Like, he's more, let me speak to my core audience. I'm gonna go get these Metro Boomin beats.
Right.
Yeah, saying because
and it could just be he just want to go hard. He just want to get on some hard shit.
Nah, but he didn't go like, he went hard, but he didn't go like dark hard. Like, Metro Boomin is like, you either gotta be like ripping somebody heart out their chest and eating it, or spitting like triple time on them beats. Like that's the only thing you do, or have like some like crazy dark echoey melodic Travis Scott or Young Thug. You know, even Young Thug in them, it's difficult. I mean, Future probably. I mean, obviously Future being the one that he kind of broke into the game with a big time. Future captured those beats really, really well, and I think that's why everybody wanted to get on them. I mean, they're not bad beats though. They're amazing, and he's done really, really great projects with people. But I think at this point, it's like, if you're not a good rapper or you're not finna just slay them beats, don't get on a Metro Boomin beat. That was like, it's always been an era where there's a hot producer that comes out and is really, really hot, and then everybody try to go get them type of beats. Everybody ain't meant for them beats. Everybody can't have it. But Metro, like, just give me a snippet, bro. Like, you know, like, I don't want not no remix though. We might have to go find Metro contact information, reach out to his manager, see if we can get him on the podcast one day.
That's what's up.
Crazy. Like, I mean, future thoughts, man. Future thoughts.
No, I'm down with it. I'm with it. I'm thinking outside the box. I guess that kind of wraps up.
Yeah.
Everything in a nice, neat little package.
Absolutely.
Once again, you have been listening to the Camo Crew podcast.
Shout out to the producers again. I think you might have actually been able to hear the beats. So those beats were brought to you by Ricky Roma, Kid Prescott, Heart Attack. Was it anybody else in here? No, Ricky Roma, Heart Attack, and Kid Prescott. Check them out. We're gonna have a link to in the page. If you want to check out any of these beats, hit them up. I might hit them up. Yeah, no, he got some smooth hip hop joints. He got them hip hop joints. Kid Prescott had kind of like some EDM, and this is a Heart Attack guy. He got the electro, or not electro, like Game Boy trap. This is a game, well, but all the trap beats I think was coming from his flavor. Heart Attack sound about right. But yeah, man. Till next time, you know. Just keep your ears open and check us out. Make sure you like and subscribe, and y'all have a good evening.
Peace.